Bloggers tend to get excited when after 6 to even 12 months, they're finally able to get 10,000 views per month to their website. But my challenge here is actually to get 10,000 views in the first month. Let's go. Now, my approach here is going to be a little bit different from what we've actively shown you in the past. And that's because between mass-produced AI content and Google's decision to cut bloggers off at the knees has made it inadvisable to just write blog content. Newsflash, it hasn't really been advisable for a long time. Now you just don't really have a choice. That's why today I'm sharing with you what I believe to be the most powerful content type and platform available to content creators today. And I'm not just going to tell you why it's powerful. I'm going to show you right now by walking you through exactly what happened during my 30-day content challenge. Now, if you've been watching, you know I already completed this challenge. But now that I've finally publicly revealed to you exactly what this case study is, I can walk you through what happened. So here we go. As I was working on my Project Doubletime website, it became clear to me, well, pretty early on, that I wasn't getting enough content created, especially in order to be able to get that blog content to rank and actually get real traffic. Meanwhile, Google's helpful content update was just kind of piling on one thing after another. And because of sort of my limitations, I decided it was time to create some video content. Now, if you're thinking, I don't want to create video content, please bear with me throughout this video, because I think you're going to see, one, ways that you could do it that are probably not nearly as intimidating as you think, but two, just how valuable this is. I decided it was time to do that. So I set up a challenge to create 30 videos in 30 days. That might seem like a lot, but if you've been here for a while, you might be aware that there have been many times where we've recommended to you to create 30 blog posts in 30 days. Just spend an hour or two a day creating a blog post every single day. It's a lot of content. So I decided that it was going to be important to set some specific parameters around this challenge in order to make sure I wouldn't flake out. So first of all, I set a goal, not just to create 30 videos in 30 days, but to actually publish 30 videos in 30 days. And my goal was to get to 10,000 views within those first 30 days. 10,000 views. Imagine that on a blog. Even if you published a blog post every day, those of you who've been doing this for a while know that it's incredibly unlikely that in those first 30 days, you're going to organically get 10,000 views. And I'm saying organically because that was also part of my challenge. I wasn't going to announce this channel to anybody. I was going to let it grow organically. That's why I didn't tell you what it was. I set the parameter that I could use YouTube Shorts, but they had to make up a small percentage of the videos on the channel. So I wasn't going to let myself flake out on that, in large part because short form content, while it can help spread your channel to more people, it doesn't convert people. And the people that it does convert to subscribers oftentimes aren't going to watch your long form content. So it doesn't have nearly as much value. And I wanted to build up a content library, just like we do on a blog, and I wanted it to exist from month one. I did decide that it was okay if I outsourced some of the editing. Now, the first half of the videos on the channel, I just edited myself, but I was reaching a point where I just couldn't do it anymore. In fact, this is kind of what started happening. Over those first couple of weeks, I was filming a video, sometimes 2 or 3 in a day. And then I was making sure that I edited at least 1 video a day so that there would be one ready for that night. But that included making thumbnails, everything. And I found myself getting home from work and still having a couple hours of editing to do a lot of different days. But about halfway through, fortunately, Graydon, who's been helping with some AI stuff and some writing, lots of things here at Income School, he showed some interest in learning video editing. So I showed him sort of the style and some basics. Another parameter was I had to upload every single day. I wasn't just going to do 30 videos over the course of 30 days. I wanted a video a day. I honestly thought that that momentum would do a lot for the channel, even though it was very, very early on and I'd have very little early traffic. So I got to work. I started on day 1 with this video. Now, to be fair and completely transparent, this is a video that I had filmed a few months earlier because I actually did the challenge much earlier in the year, intending to put it out on YouTube eventually, but also to be able to write about it on the blog. But I had recorded this and I had done this week-long challenge where I ate literally nothing but ration bars. These things taste like cardboard. It was a hard challenge and I thought this could be really compelling and motivating. And then the way I filmed it, the way I told the story, in the end, it wasn't as good as it could have been. Now this one I also had because I had done it earlier, I'd already had it edited, so I kind of had a little bit of a head start. So I published it. And in the first day, let's see, I got 9 views. And that's honestly, like, getting any views on a video in the first day is probably a pretty good thing. I have a feeling that a few of those views were probably my wife, me from another account, just checking and making sure everything looked good. Just, oh man, it was so slow. And look at that. But think about that in comparison to blogging. If I had published that video on that day, it would have sat at 0 for probably the first 3 months, because that's what we typically see, even before Google cut us off at the knees. So that's actually pretty exciting, although to this day, it doesn't have that many views considering what I put myself through for an entire week. So I kind of wish I'd done a better job and put more effort into the finished product. But for a beginner video, honestly, not too bad. I continued on by making videos about things like canning peaches, using reusable canning lids. Those two, I filmed all the B-roll the same day. I was canning peaches. I'm like, why don't I go ahead and put normal lids on some and reusable lids on some others and do some comparison while we're at it. Then I was able to just do a very easy talking head video and use that B-roll from actually canning. And that made it a little bit easier when I was able to just take things I was doing in my real life and just turn on my cell phone camera on a tripod and film myself doing them. Then all I had to do was stand in front of a camera later and talk, telling, here's how to do it, or here's what I learned. And then I had that B-roll to use over the top. And honestly, it's the only way I was able to film, edit, and publish 30 videos in 30 days. And now you can see how this is after the first week. I had a total of 1,627 views on 7 videos after 1 week. Now again, that's not a lot, but it's a lot compared to what you get on a blog. Now notice I keep drawing that comparison. Video versus blog content and how many views I get. And you might ask, are they really the same thing? Is a video view worth as much as a blog post view? If someone comes to my blog, they've made it to my website and I own my website. But here's the difference. When somebody watches you in a video, they actually build a little bit of relationship. There's some rapport, there's some trust there. You see, when I read a blog post, I have no idea who the author really is, if they're trustworthy. I don't know if they actually know anything about the topic or if AI wrote the article. When I watch a video, I can gauge for myself how reputable that person really is. Now, it is true that on a blog, when I get 1,000 views, it's probably like 900 different people. On the YouTube channel, when I get 1,000 views, it might only be 200 different people. But those 200 people are far more likely to feel a connection and to trust the things that I have to say and to watch my content in the future. That's part of why it's so powerful. In fact, I have found that video content does substantially better at converting people to be an actual customer, to be an actual follower than blog content does. So while these 1,000 views in 1 week were easier to get than 1,000 views in a week on a blog, I actually think that they're more valuable. And I've honestly seen that play out over and over and over again on the channels we've created in the past. All right, so I'm a week in, I have 1,100 views. Let's extrapolate that out. After 4 weeks, that's only gonna put me at 4,400 views. That's not 10,000. So we're gonna have to continue to make videos and hopefully make them better. But as I mentioned earlier, as time went on, by the end of the second week, I realized there's no way I can keep up with this. And that's not just because it's impossible to make that much content in 30 days. What it came down to is I have a responsibility to manage a business. I have a responsibility to members of Project 24. I'm literally creating content for them still. I didn't back off from that. I was able to pass off a little bit more. I was filming for channel makers. I passed off a little bit more of that to the team so I could dedicate more to this. But we were doing like a 30-day on-camera challenge where I was literally having to take time every day for 30 days for that as well. I'm dealing with the daily ins and outs. I'm dealing with Project 24 members and trying to help support them and work on content for them. I'm doing masterminds for them. I mean, I run a company. And so taking the time every day to film, edit, and publish a video was really starting to eat at me. And honestly, I could see it in the views. Some of the videos I was making, they were just rushed. I was just picking topics that would be easy, and we could see it in the views. So that's when I realized I was gonna need a little bit of help to just take a little bit of that burden off, and that's when I handed off the editing. I still planned all of these videos and filmed all of them myself for the rest of the 30 days. And I think it was really good that I did that and freed up a little bit more of my mental bandwidth to be able to put more energy into these videos and more planning into these videos. Because even after 2 weeks, I mean, just look at this, look at my numbers. And this spike right here, that was from a YouTube short that I published. And those views honestly aren't really the same. These are kind of like the people who end up on your site and then half of them bounce really fast. They don't do a whole lot to build rapport. Only about half the people watching that video actually continued watching it. About half of them just swiped away. So half of those views are actually kind of bounces. At this point, for achieving that kind of a goal, it can be really tempting to be a little bit tricky, maybe cheat a little bit. Now, it's not cheating per se to use paid ads to get traffic to your videos or to get subscribers, but when I'm trying to build this organic following, it kind of is. So when we grow our audience organically, we end up typically getting the subscribers that are the best fit for the videos that we've been making. Not always, especially when you publish a video that does well, but is a little bit outside of what's normal for you. But you can use paid ads to get clicks to your videos or to get people to subscribe to your channel without actually having much, if any, positive benefit for your channel. You might as well just throw that money away if that's what you're gonna do. There's a place for paid ads, but for growing an audience, honestly, I don't see it. So even though I wanted to get to 10,000 views, the more important thing for me was building a real audience because I wanted this thing to grow into the future, not just achieve a short-term goal. So instead of taking the easy way out, I decided to buckle down and make some better videos. And in week 3, we started to finally see the views climb. I had a couple of videos that did pretty well, and they were actually helping to grow the momentum on the channel. This is something that we do definitely see with YouTube, is there's a momentum factor. When you have a video that does well, your next video is gonna get pushed out to more of those people that watched the previous one. And then if it does well with that audience, it'll keep getting spread further and further. The most important factor for YouTube is how long people stay watching your video. If people bounce out pretty quick, it doesn't matter how many people clicked on your really impressive thumbnail. It doesn't matter how many people liked your title. The clicks aren't what matter. What matters is the longevity. Do people stay in the video? With our blogs, we need to be thinking that way too. While Google doesn't say that they measure that or that they use it in the algorithm, we know they measure it. It's part of Google Analytics 4. They can see scroll. They can see how long people are in your blog post. So why wouldn't they use that in the algorithm? In fact, in that leak, we found out that as part of the algorithm, they are tracking that. And I suspect that it is being used in ranking. So we need to get good at crafting content that keeps people engaged longer. And as I made videos that did that, we saw this really start to tick up. By the end of 3 weeks, that's 21 days, only 9 days left. I still only have 7,818 views. Now, if I could continue this upward trajectory, I was going to make it and I was excited. But then I had a couple days in a row where the new videos just didn't do that well. And some of the older videos that had done well started to level off. And my overall channel views started to decline. At this time, I was starting to get a little bit burnt out and I kind of went back to making videos that were easy, using stuff that I had. I mean, one of them was this one, where I literally just brought in breakfast cereal and I had ordered some of these Mylar bags and I just sealed it in bags and was like, we're gonna see how good this stuff is in the future. I didn't even get to do the testing because it was like, now I just need a year to pass and see if this cereal is still any good. And so it just wasn't that compelling of a video. I'm literally just setting up the test. So the next day I put together a video using some footage that I had taken the previous winter when I was up in the mountains, doing some product testing. People love that kind of stuff, especially when you're doing something that required a little bit of forethought, a little bit of actual preparedness, a little bit of preparation, I should say, beforehand. So in this video, I sat out in the snow and I used these emergency blankets and these emergency bivvies to see how well they would actually hold in my temperature and for how long. I thought, there's no way this video doesn't do well. And then I published it. And as the momentum on the channel had slowed down, on the day I published that video, the views on the channel were still stagnant. But I know YouTube, and I'm not gonna get disheartened because the first day a video goes out, it doesn't do that great. Because if it does okay with the people that do watch it and it gets that longer average view duration, then we see YouTube start to push it forward to more people. And the next day, we saw the views jump back up to about where they had been before the dip. So here I was, only 27 days into the challenge. And if you're looking closely, you'll see I've already achieved my goal. I'm at over 13,000 views and I still have 3 days left. And over those 3 days, I did publish one YouTube short that got me a little bit more reach again, but I also published 2 more videos after that were keeping me back on track at around 1,000 views a day. And what's awesome to me was, first of all, that I'd set a goal, primarily the goal of uploading 30 videos in 30 days. And achieving that goal to me was a huge win, independent of what sort of outcome I was able to get in terms of views or subscribers, dollars earned, or sort of steps toward monetization on YouTube. Setting goals that you have control over is a fantastic way to ensure that you can actually achieve success. Whereas when we set goals based upon outcomes that we don't have control over, things like algorithm updates can end up destroying your ability to achieve that goal. And that was completely outside your control. But the cool thing is, by achieving those 30 videos in 30 days, not only did I get 10,000 views in the first month on my new channel, I got over 18,000 views. I can't imagine doing that organically on a brand new blog. I also had these viewers spend over 1,300 hours hanging out with me in just those first 30 days. Now, I love blogs and I love websites, and blog content is incredibly valuable even today. Not all search engines are doing what Google's doing. In fact, the rest of them seem to be, still sane. But also, when we have good blog content, we have places to send people to. I can make a YouTube video that covers a topic and is compelling, but then directs traffic over to my blog because I have a really good resource for them over there that supplements the video. I can do the same thing with Pinterest. I can have any blog post on any topic and I can direct traffic there from Pinterest or from Facebook or Instagram. We don't need to, and we shouldn't just depend on Google or any search engine for that matter. We should be building brands and we should be reaching out and finding people where they are, on the platforms where they are. If people aren't searching Google anymore so much because they can just ask an AI bot and get just as much information, sometimes better, then we need to find them where they are, and they are on social media, including YouTube and other platforms with both written and video content. Getting them to our website is where we're able to convert an actual sale, potentially. It's where we're able to get them on an email list or to join a subscription or membership. So don't abandon the website. But if you're not in video yet, it's time to consider it. I've had numerous members of Project 24 over the years tell me, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. And I've had some of them come to me in recent times and say, I'm so glad that 3 years ago, I finally decided to give it a try. And now they have a thriving business that was not harmed in any way by what Google has done. I want you to have the same. So if you're considering or if you're doing online business, I would strongly encourage you to consider video content. Not all of it has to be like this, where your face is right in front of the camera, where you're talking and teaching all the time. There are so many different ways to create video content. In fact, in another recent video that I'll link to right here, I made a video for somebody else's website that they could put out on Instagram, as well as on Facebook as a reel, as well as a YouTube short, as well as on TikTok if they want to, that would potentially direct traffic back to their blog. I encourage you to at least start there, because that's where you're going to start seeing results like this that are going to build you a much stronger brand than anything you can do by just writing content for your blog. Thanks for joining me today. If you stuck around here till the end, well, you're probably one of those people that's more likely to succeed because you're willing to consider something that maybe you weren't that interested in doing before. And that's why you're going to succeed. I hope to see you in our next video, where we'll continue talking about all the things that we're doing with this website, including some other new things that I'm trying now that I've never done before. We'll see you there.